Y'all already know what's poppin', honey. Scared feet don't eat, and a closed mouth won't get fed.
All right, I want you to take a look at this interesting piece of furniture. Okay, I want you to take a look at it. Take a real good look at it. I might show you a few others, but they all serve the same purpose. All right, I'm going to tell you how this works. All right, I'm going to tell you how this works. A Between two consenting adults, ideally, shit. Although there is a very gray area to dark. All right, as far as I know. All right, I'm going to tell you how this works. All right. You'll notice that each of these specially made chairs has a hole in it, or they made in a certain shape to accommodate the back of a person's head. Okay, the back of the head, like the scalp or whatever, cranium, whatever you want to call it, back of their peanut, right? So, a few versions of this chair. Ideally, the person would lay on the floor in a prone, facing upward in a prone position with their head resting in the area, right? And some of these specially made pieces of furniture come with leather straps attached to bind your arms so that you can't move your arms involuntarily or do anything else, right? For a very specific reason and whatnot. Some of these come with attachments for handcuffs and whatnot, right? So, the consenting adult lays on the floor facing the ceiling, has their hands bound, sometimes in an uncomfortable position, or there's different versions of this thing, okay? There's some that would alarm you. They look like something out of a horror movie. Person lays on the floor, hands bound. The other person, presumably the one paying, the provider, sits atop this device with no pants or underwear on and relieves himself, okay? Relieves himself, okay? Number two, the dupe, all right? All right, the dupe. And depending on what part of the world you're in, it can get even worse and whatnot. It can get even worse, right? There are versions of this chair I can't even show you based on this platform, but I'm taking the PG route to explaining what is essentially known as a drop chair. Okay, a drop chair. Okay, and some people uh, simply lay on the bed with their head off the edge of the bed and allow a person to sit there. All right, it's disgusting. All right, that's my personal feelings about it. It's not my thing. I'm very open-minded and shit, but it's not my thing. It's disgusting. The only reason I know about this is because I moved to the West Coast, and you know, I used to work in Hollywood and West LA, and you hear things and shit. And I've been to San Francisco for a week or two. You hear things, okay? I remember when I first moved to the West Coast, I was staying in a communal home, and there was a gentleman that told me that someone had given him something in his drink, and subsequently had been kept in a closet, a literal gimp, for uh, a couple of months in San Francisco before escaping when the person that had taken him had left the door open. Okay, no cap, right? This is a drop chair. Okay, that's what this shit is for. The gentleman that was in the closet said that one of these was in the house. All right. I used to have some friends, that I used to have some friends that had a video store and whatnot. It was like a curio store. It had like various odds and ends and shit, and a lot of different people came through and shit. It was a great time and shit because it was truly a melting pot. This melting pot that they say this fucking country is 3Ks and set. There was these people and shit. I found a lot of friends amongst those people. They were unassuming, unjudging, racially neutral, all that kind of bullshit. Okay, All right. And I worked in the industry that, you know, I got to see people from the music industry, people from you know, Hollywood, right? And you know, West LA, if you know, you know, right? I used to know a guy, right? I used to know a guy. He was small head, right? He was kind of on the outs with his family, who was well to do. They had a few businesses, and you know, he's pretty much a trust fund baby or whatnot. But he had been abused using one of these devices by people he thought, you know, cared about him. He was gay. Okay, he was unapologetically gay. I don't have a problem with the guy. Okay, I don't have a problem. He was not bothering me with the thing. You know, it's just his deal. Okay, he respected the fact that I was a straight black man. I respected the fact that he was an extremely gay Jewish man of a older age and shit. Somehow, when I was not around, but I was told of it, he had some tapes. You know, if you get my drift, that demonstrated the use of one of these chairs with himself as the recipient. You know, the person laying on his back in this chair, right? On, you know, at the bottom of this chair, right? I didn't see it, but I walked in after it was screened into a friend's a place of business where they had a video monitor and whatnot. Very raucous, very MTV kind of crowd, very like that Jackass, those Jackass movies. Okay, so he presented it as some kind of thing to laugh at or something. But I walked in after, and everybody's face was drawn. You know, it was the color was drained from many different faces, many different ethnicities. And I was like, what happened? They started to explain. The minute I started hearing that shit, I was like, no, say no more. And I turned around and walked right back out. Shit, I did not want to see that. They were about to push the play button again and show it to me on this monitor. And I was like, no, I'm not going to. I choose not to see that because I'll have to kill these people that abused him. Okay? Kill these people who abused him. I'm disgusted. I know this man. I did not want to see him like that and shit. I have an eidetic memory. I guess that's what they call it. Where there are some things that I cannot unsee. So I did not want to add that to the pot and shit. All right? I have a stream recollection since the 70s. All right? And it's 2025 now. All right? It's kind of specific. Now I want to get into it. It's not important. But I want to show you this drop shit. Okay? People get paid a lot of money, right? And the people that engage in this malfeasant, disgusting behavior pay a shit ton of money, you know, outside the country and inside this fucking country to engage in this activity with people and shit, okay? Engage in this activity with people. It is disgusting. And I have to say, over the years, there's been many different times I've actively worked to avoid seeing video evidence of this shit. And I worked in a certain industry where I had to go do insurance reports on properties where things like this occurred. Okay, it was a part of the job. I was a gumshoe. All right, it was not a big job. Okay, it was not a big. I wasn't making no big money or nothing. But you know, it's just things you can't avoid on the job. And sometimes I see disgusting shit like this, right? And it just stays with you. It stays with you. Okay. The reason I'm showing these motherfucking pictures, right? The reason I'm showing these to you is because I'm going to talk about the exposure of Saweetie. Okay? Saweetie, the fake rapper, who has been exposed by her madam as a yacht girl, specifically in Dubai, where this type of behavior is prevalent, I'm told. I haven't been there. Okay? I like to go to the city and see the technological wonders and shit, but I don't know sometimes, you know? I don't know. It is a foreign country and everything. They have their own rules and laws over there, but the fact that this kind of thing is prevalent and shit, and the fact that an inordinate number of very attractive to mid black women, shit, okay? Black women I'm not saying specific to any part of the country, but just in general, that they go over there and engage in this kind of behavior, make themselves of service to this, it stills my inherent misogyny to the ninth degree and shit based on, emotional intelligence and common sense and shit, okay? Because we have to listen to them tell us that a lot of us are not good enough for anything but a bargain bin and shit. And the bench to wait until they crash out and then decide to, get that wild hair out of their ass, sexually speaking, and, grab one of us and shit for greener pastures and shit. I want to talk about Saweetie now, right? The next segment. Sorry, but, I decided to put this at the front of this video so that you could decide if you want to listen to the rest of it or not.
Let me zoom in so y'all can see. This is what you see rappers, Instagram models, and stuff using when they are making their content. Very few people use their own money. I mean, who's gonna actually flush their money down the toilet, right?